Hi, this is Natalie. I wanted to talk a little bit about the LDS Mormon culture of fidelity. And in the church, uh, the youth are asked to put off dating until they're 16 and then to only group date or date as friends, nothing serious until either later on or after missions are served. And they're given a lot of rules about, don't stay out after midnight, follow the curfew, don't be in any, don't allow yourself to get into any situation that could lead to something else. And the idea is that once you establish relationships just naturally progress. And that's just a part of life, that's a part of nature. That's not evil, that's not bad. But relationships do progress. So not to allow those relationships to begin or put yourself in a situation that can lead to something. And now later on, when you do get married and you wait until your marriage before being intimate, it is, well, first of all, before you get married, when you're 8 years old, you make a baptismal covenant, and that covenant is between you and God. And then before you get married in the temple, you get your endowment in which you make a covenant to God of chastity, which is the law of chastity. And so the fidelity is, the chastity is before God, and you're making that to God long before you ever get married. So by the time you've gotten married, if you have had the opportunity to live these principles, then you have that much more stamina, because teenagers, when those hormones are raging and you meet someone and they're special and they understand you better than anyone else, you still have to hold back on that relationship. And you learn, you develop character and emotional stamina. And well, kids are they go through so much, and it's so hard for them. And it's so much easier if they can develop the self-control and the self-worth, and not have their self-worth based on their relationships with with their romantic relationships, and not base their self-worth on that. And it's just such a tumultuous time. And if you developing that self-control and that ability is so helpful later on in life, because after you get married, there's, challenges happen. When you first get married, everything's rosy, but there's adversity that takes place. There's hardship, there's challenges, and it's not all roses. And so if you've already developed the stamina to put off relationships and the habit of limiting relationships, limiting your associations, so that nothing can or would develop limiting circumstances, following the Mike Pence rule or something, then it's that much easier, because you've already developed the character and the stamina to put off those relationships. Because there's going to be times when your husband or your wife isn't the best person in the world in your life, and it's hard, and you might meet someone, but since you've already established that it isn't about it is about the relationship with your spouse, but even before that, it's about your relationship with God. And it is so much easier. And for me, I had the opportunity to be taught this and to live this when I was younger. And so for me, it was, fidelity on this level, and for many other reasons. Being faithful to my spouse was never a challenge or a hardship to me. I loved my husband very much, and yeah, I don't believe in love at first sight, because to me it wasn't first sight. It was meeting a dear old friend, somebody that I'd missed dearly. So that is a principle in practice, and a lot of teenagers get all caught up in what's allowed and what's not allowed, and it's really about the bigger picture of developing character to stand strong on your own. And I see people who go into relationship after relationship, and just chronically they can't stand on their own two emotional feet. And we do need each other, and but having that kind of stamina, so when rocky times do happen, which they do, that you have the character to get through it. And for me, fidelity was not something that was hard at all. And there were some hard challenges that happened in our lives, but of all the challenges that happened, for me, being faithful wasn't one of the challenges that came up, and that was just a part of it. So fidelity in a culture of fidelity, fidelity is about character. In a culture of infidelity, fidelity is about circumstances. And it's a huge huge difference. Well, and you do have to control your circumstances to not allow something to develop. So anyway, the culture of fidelity, it's kind of cool. There's a lot of challenges in life, and if we can learn that, then that makes it easier. Now, if you didn't have the opportunity to be raised that way, there's things that you can do as an adult to develop a culture of fidelity within your home, of course. It's not the end of the world, but it does help. It is a very positive contributing factor to fidelity. Thank you.